All right, we're up. All right, so this week on the news, have you been paying attention? Because there's a lot of really interesting things going on. Happy Fantastic Four Day. The Fantastic Four trailer dropped this morning, so we're going to be talking about that. And happy late Groundhog's Day. That was a couple days ago. 3 more weeks of winter. Is it 6 more weeks? I can't remember. But he saw his shadow. So, and the Courtney LaPlante thing. We're going to be talking about the Grammys ever so briefly, because who really cares about the Grammys except for when they screw things up, which is basically every year. And then what was the other one? Oh, I have more. There's more going on here. Oh, yeah, we have like 3 different things we have to talk about for Terrifier. We have some Star Wars action to go about, a couple trailers, a couple announcements, some things happening. All of that is super duper exciting. And yeah, let's jump into this. All right, nerds. Oh, that's not the one we're going to start with. Let's get it to a better spot. Let's start there. Let me know if the music is too high. Sometimes I can't really tell. Actually, I think, that should be all right. Okay, so we have things going on this week. Oh, we also, before we get into the actual news pieces, there was another top 10 movies from 2024 that I wanted to talk about. This is top 10 worst movies of 2024. Let's see, where did we drop that link? It's in here somewhere. I know it is. Yeah, right there. Okay, so there's that. And also, before we get too deep into this, let's talk about channel partner Dubby, right there on screen. Let's go check out the Dubby website. Dubby, these are this is the products page on Dubby.gg. Dubby is the channel partner here with Generally Nerdy. Dubby has energy drinks that I really freaking like. I kind of love them. But also, they have hydration and stuff, so it's not just that. It's all mixed drink mixes. They do have... I don't want featured. Let's see. Nope. They do have canned drinks. Let's see if I can find them here on the... Well, that's not great, guys. Where's the canned stuff? There we go. They do have a couple canned drinks. They are working on availability. Those are harder to get your hands on, just because they are kind of a small operation. But, yeah, lots of really great stuff over at w.gg. If you use code GenerallyNerdy at checkout, you do get 10% off of everything you purchase. Plus, I am my own sponsor. This season, we're going to be pushing real hard on the merch. There is a new merch design up. So we have, I think it's 5 new items. For whatever reason, this is not loading. That's fun. 5 new items with the new design on. There it is on the Generally Nerdy store over at over at Spring. So generally-nerdy.creator-spring.com. I found a decent zip-up hoodie, so we're super stoked there. But the new pieces are the gaming nerd pieces. So we have a pullover hoodie, a zip-up hoodie, and then a couple of different T-shirts, different kinds of T-shirts. You have the Bella canvas, which is my favorite of the blends. These are the most comfortable shirts. We have, I haven't actually tried the Next Level 3600 premium shirt, but, premium. So I figured, yeah, why the hell not? The Comfort Tee is also super cozy. And then Classic is just another option with a female cut. So we also, previously, we talked about the book nerd. We have the music nerd designs. There will be a tech nerd. There will be a comic book nerd, movie nerd, and I have a couple of the basic nerd designs. That's what we're going with for these. These are the basic nerd designs, and then sometime probably next month we are going to start with special drops with each of them. So we'll get some special nerd stuff going on as well. That's a little bit more specific to the type of nerd that you are repping. So go check out. There's a link down in the description of the YouTube channel. So those of you who are watching, actually, I think it's in the description over on Rumble as well. So if you're watching on Twitch, I haven't gotten that stuff updated just yet. We are still in the off season, so it is a work in progress. But yeah, we're super excited to be offering merch, and also super thankful for Dubby's partnership with the channel. All right, so paying the bills. That stuff is out of the way. Let's move into this Fantastic Four story. Really, I mean, like, this isn't exactly what we're talking about. I do agree with the headline here. But this morning, the Fantastic Four trailer dropped. We're not going to be playing it on stream because we are multi-streaming, and different platforms have different rules with reactions live. Specifically, YouTube is the most strict, so that sucks, but it is what it is. We have a pretty decent breakdown. If you go over to Den of Nerds on YouTube, Josh has a really great breakdown that I just watched that kind of gets into the big specifics of this. We actually might be able to. Let's do this. Let's do this. We're gonna. It's already muted. All right, beautiful. So get rid of the way it launched this morning. Apparently, I was not alive to the world at this point, but apparently at 7 a.m. they started an hour-long countdown. So 7 a.m. California time, I believe, would have been 8 a.m. my time. So they started at 7 a.m. And then it ran an hour-long countdown, and then there was a 10-minute interview with the actors, and then they played the minute-and-a-half trailer, which is interesting. There's a couple of cool things to talk about. First of all, the opening bit is a 4:3 ratio, so it's kind of throwbacky. There's a lot of 60s elements in the design here, just like we were anticipating. They have a walkthrough of the Baxter of their living quarters in the Baxter building, and then right here it starts to expand to a normal 2:3 ratio. We see Ben talking to the robot about the cooking, and he adds the garlic. The interesting things are in the voiceover, right? Starting here. So this is starting. We're back into the 4:3 letterbox. This is pre them going up into space. Now, the interesting thing here is one of the theories, one of the rumors for this movie was that they were going to originally be from the 616, and somehow through their space travels, they punch a hole and go into whatever universe this movie takes place in. It apparently is not the case. At least the first bit of that, which is, them being from the 616, is apparently not the case. That's not to say that the other half of that rumor being they're going back to the 616 is not going to happen. But we do have a shot here of them pre-space flight, obviously in this universe. So that part of the rumor has been shot down. The voiceover here, we're talking, it is Reed talking to Sue about the difference. Before we went up, you couldn't turn invisible, and then we see her struggling with this invisibility. Presumably this is that first time that they are up into space. Ben wasn't a rock. He doesn't say monster, he says rock. Also interesting in this shot is look at the size of Ben. He seems a little small, as pointed out by Josh over at the Den of Nerds. In this shot, he seems small, and then there's a shot later where he seems pretty thick. Ben Grimm is a big character. So in this shot, it's a little off-putting to see him so small. The other part of this is when we're here and we hear his voice. Also, he looks a little bit bigger here, right? When we hear his voice in this, it's just Ebon's voice. There's no change. Ebon doesn't affect any sort of different voice for having changed into the Thing. So that's a very interesting choice that I really don't know how I feel about. And if it gun to my head right now, I would say, yeah, I really don't like that. So then we have, again, another shot of him going up into space and turning into the rock monster. With the really emotive like face, as much as he is very comic book accurate. Like if you compare this to early runs of the Fantastic Four, this looks shockingly similar to the way Jack Kirby originally drew Ben Grimm. It's pretty awesome. But then they move on. The voiceover moves on to talk about how Johnny couldn't set himself on fire. And then Sue corrects Reed and says, Ben has always been a rock. And we see, let's see if I can find, that's Johnny. There we go. Ben has always been a rock. In this, it looks like he's being some sort of support system for her. So rock being a metaphor for him being supportive. Johnny is Johnny, and she comes in, find him being a troublemaker, effectively. We don't know exactly. And I'm right here because she's not invisible. But we get this really awesome shot of her using her powers, which is freaking fantastic. Not to, pun anything. We get Johnny going into space and his powers shutting off because he can't breathe, presumably. We get this really awesome coming of Galactus shot with another highlight of the cityscape to prove that this is an alternate universe. We get the fantastic, what is that? I can't remember the name of the vehicle that Reed creates, but Reed's car. We get this shot from the Ed Sullivan Show, kind of. A show that looks an awful lot like the Ed Sullivan Show. And also, we get these kick-ass 60s themed Fantastic Four outfits. Super, super excited about that. Where is that shot that Josh showed? Oh, come on, Meow. Come on, Meow. No, there it is. We get the red, what is he? The Red Ghost. Presumably this is the Red Ghost. Nobody knows for sure, but all the rumors are saying that Malkovich is going to be playing Ivan Kragov, was his name, who is the Red Ghost, who is a villain for the Fantastic Four in the early days. Basically, his backstory is he sees what the Fantastic Four do. He wants to do that for himself, so he takes a bunch of different apes and monkeys and stuff into space and tries to recreate the circumstance through which the Fantastic Four got their powers, and then he gets weird powers too, but it's not doesn't work out exactly the same way. Also, there's rumor that he is not going to be the main villain. Obviously, he's not going to be the main villain because they're highlighting the fact that Galactus is in this freaking movie. So if he's in the trailer, then we are not getting a post-credit scene that has Galactus, and that's the only cameo we get. We are getting Galactus as the big bad. So the fact that we have the Red Ghost here is significant because like I said, he's a villain of theirs in the early days of the comics. So back in the 60s, 50s, whenever Kirby and whenever he was created. Sorry, brain just stopped working. I really thought we were going to be getting this trailer at the Super Bowl. That was what all of the rumors were saying. So it's kind of crazy that they drop it February 4th. Kind of appropriate. F4, Fantastic Four, February 4th, blah, blah, blah. But does a lot of good things for the hype machine for this. The big thing here that is notably absent is any sort of reference to the fact that Sue is very potentially pregnant. There are a couple of allusions. Let's get to this shot. There are a couple of allusions to a time jump. This shot very specifically has two different things that maybe are alluding to, one, the time jump, because her hair is good and long here, but also she looks like she may or may not be with child, meaning we are probably going to be seeing her and Reed's eldest son, whose name is totally escaping my brain right now, but that is the big rumor, that is what draws Galactus to this Earth, and that's why they have to escape Galactus to a different universe, and Galactus follows them, and it's this whole thing. So possible there. But yeah, if you look at her hair here and you look at her hair at the beginning, it's very, very short, so alluding to the potential of a time shift. But yeah, really awesome, super great. If you haven't watched the trailer yet, go watch it. That is the first piece that we absolutely must get out of the way. Her child is in the movie. So that is the big rumor. There is absolutely the Fantastic Car. Thank you, Chris. I'm super excited for you to be here right now. Yes, I agree. It totally does look good. This movie takes place in some separate universe other than the MCU. Yes, that has been made known through leaks and stuff for some time at this point. The rumors have fluctuated. Franklin Richards, thank you. The rumor has fluctuated from it takes place exclusively in this alternate universe, and then at the end of the movie they transfer to the 616. To at some point they are they start in the 616, and then they accidentally go to this new universe. From that accident, they become superheroes, and they are like rock star superheroes in this alternate universe. With the birth of Franklin, that draws not only Galactus but also this universe's Doctor Doom. Yes, it does mean that we might get Doctor Doom in the post-credit scene. I think we actually are going to get a little bit more of a cameo than just the post-credit scene from Doctor Doom, because he has to follow them into the 616. I am 100% on board with the theory that Doom is in the 616 from the beginning, because if you the current status of Iron Man in the comic books is that he was adopted, because they're the only superheroes in the world. They I don't know if they're going to be the only ones, but they're definitely going to be the most famous ones. But yeah, that is one of the rumors as well, is that because they have superpowers in this universe, nobody else has superpowers, which makes them kind of stand out. Doctor Doom. So the theory that I'm on board with the most for what's going to happen with Doom is that we have Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doom very specifically because in the comic books, Tony Stark is adopted by the Starks, and so his backstory as an orphan doesn't really get fleshed out as far as I understand it. I haven't read that arc. But it is significant because the child that he's effectively replacing, his brother in essence, died when they were very young, and that's why they adopted another child. So the theory is, and this one comes again from Josh over at Den of Nerds, the theory is that the person who would have become Doctor Doom in the 616 is orphaned from Latveria, is adopted by the Starks, and then is raised as Tony. Whereas in this other universe, he is raised as Doctor Doom, Victor Von Doom, in Latveria, becomes the leader of Latveria, and then becomes the Doom that we know from the comic books because he's in Latveria. So the fact that it's Robert Downey Jr. playing both characters is significant, because then that really plays into a lot of the adoptive stuff. It shows that he really could have been there from the start. It's really, really awesome. I'm super, super excited about that. So, yes, if you have not yet watched that trailer, go check it out. It's pretty dope, pretty solid. Kind of excited, for the movie when it comes out. Let's move to the next piece, which is another trailer. Excuse me. which is the Final Destination Bloodlines trailer. If you have not seen this one yet, there we go, Final Destination. Really, it's one of the death scenes. And it looks like... let's see if they know... So the real quick synopsis: newest chapter in the New Line Cinema's bloody successful franchise takes audiences back to the very beginning of Death's twisted sense of justice. Plagued by a violent reoccurring nightmare, college student Stephanie heads home to track down the one person who might have been able to break the cycle and save her family from the grisly demise that inevitably awaits them all. Behind the movie, talk about the damn trailer. It doesn't talk about the trailer. So, yeah, it's basically one of the death scenes. It looks like it might be the opening death scene that just kind of ties up loose ends from something. I stopped keeping tabs on the Final Destination stuff. May 14th is when it'll be out. If you haven't watched this trailer, this feels like very familiar ground that they're retreading, but it also feels like they're putting a lot more effort into it than the last few Final Destination movies. Like I said, I stopped keeping tabs on them really after a while, but like I've seen them all to varying degrees. Like half the time, like it's just my girlfriend puts it on as background noise while we're both working or doing whatever. So like I'm aware of the things that happen in them, but most of them are hot garbage. Like anything past the second Final Destination movie is really just you're trying to catch a gruesome death scene, and they're really poorly executed. Yes, the trailer is insane, as Chris said in chat. It is absolutely crazy. Like I said, it feels like they're putting a lot more thought and effort into it this time around. So does that mean I'm going to catch it in theaters? Yeah, probably not. But are you talking to me? Oh, and it's also the final movie for Candyman actor. Oh no, I'm gonna forget his name. Oh, good lord, let's just go look it up, shall we? Wiki. What is his name? What is his name? No, not that one. I bet Chris knows, and he said it in chat, and I'm just not looking at chat. Tony Todd. Yes, sir. You rock. Thank you very much, Chris. Coming in through in a pinch. Yes, so this is Tony Todd's final movie. He is in it. This is the final movie that he was an actor in. So that is significant in and of itself. Again, will I catch it in theaters? Probably not. Will I actually watch this one? Yeah, I'll probably put this one on once it's streaming, but not hype enough to catch it in theaters. It's an interesting trailer for sure. If you're into horror, if you're into gore, this is a trailer that you're going to enjoy, though be warned, it is definitely NSFW, so yeah, that's a thing that you need to be aware of, but yeah, that's where that one sits. Next up, we're talking about the announcement confirming rumors that we've talked about on the channel previously that there is, in fact, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot. It is moving forward over at Hulu. We are going to actually properly read this article. So, Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot is finally moving forward, and it's happening at Hulu with original star Sarah Michelle Gellar. What are the details? Details also include that Eternals director Chloe Zhao will direct the pilot episode. Original series creator Joss Whedon is not attached to the project because people find Joss to be very problematic, with good reason. We're not going to get into that, but like it's kind of a Neil Gaiman kind of situation, just maybe not quite as bad as Gaiman. Which I think we're actually going to talk about Gaiman here later. Yes, we're going to talk about Gaiman later too. THR says that the Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot is from writers Nora and Lila Zuckerman, who did Poker Face and Fringe. Oh, dope. Fringe. Yes, that's good sign. Fringe is a great show. If you've not watched it, you should. The later seasons kind of get a little wonky, but the first 2 or 3 seasons are super solid. Spiritual successor to the X-Files. It's good stuff. And 20th Century Television. Interesting. Described as, quote, the next chapter in the Buffyverse, unquote. Next chapter will focus on a new, younger Slayer with Sarah Michelle Gellar recurring in the series. As noted, since there is only supposed to be one Slayer in existence at a given time, the final season retconned things by awakening hundreds of potential new Slayers. Deadline adds that a writer's room is also getting put together, which is a good sign for the show. And while it's unknown if the other actors will be returning, the site says that it is considered likely. That is, yes, agreed, a very good sign. Sarah Michelle Gellar is on board. In December, Michelle Gellar said she was open to continuing the series. Quote, I always used to say no because it's in its bubble and it's so perfect, she said during an appearance on the Drew Barrymore show. But watching Sex and the City sequel just like that and seeing Dexter and realizing there are ways to do it definitely does get your mind thinking, well, maybe. I don't know if the Dexter one necessarily is the best. I haven't watched the prequel or the sequel series for Dexter, but I have not heard great things. It's actually been kind of just a mixed bag. However, the girlfriend loves the Sex and the City stuff. I don't know that she loves the And Just Like That stuff as much, but watches it and enjoys it at least. So. Back in 2018, a reboot was attempted from Whedon, but it never got off the ground. Buffy the Vampire Slayer debuted as featured, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Christy Swanson was the original Buffy in the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, but you love the show, then you should definitely do that. If you've never seen either, start with the movie because the show elaborates past the movie. It's pretty cool. Definitely a Buffy fan. Watched basically every episode when I was a kid, when I was middle school, junior high, high school, whatever it was, through all of those actually. Buffy includes the Angel spinoff, comic books, and novels. Yes, I have read a couple of the comic books, none of the novels though. Coming in clutch. Yes, sir. Always coming in clutch. I super appreciate you being here, bud. All right. So, next on the list, we have apparently rumors getting shot down. So, Marvel is shooting down rumors about Black Panther 3 recasting T'Challa. Now, that's... According to just going off of that headline, that is specifically to Black Panther 3. That's not going forward in the MCU. So, Marvel producer Nate Moore shoots down rumors that Black Panther 3 will be recasting T'Challa. Various rumors have said that Marvel is currently looking at actors to play Black Panther, including John David Washington, who we talked about last week, Denzel Washington's son, Kelvin Harris Jr., Aaron Pierre, who is John Stewart in the Lantern show, so that's not super likely. Aldous Hodge, I think, would be a really cool choice. I think that John David Washington would be the best choice. John Boyega would be a really interesting choice. Damson Idris and David... I'm so sorry I'm going to say this last name so terribly wrong. Oyelawu. Hodge actually addressed the rumors on X, stating he turned it down, but he... Who did? Oh, Aldous Hodge. Interesting. But he looks to have been having fun with the fans, as he added. He also turned down playing a co-lead in James Bond, Daniel Craig, and Eddie Murphy biopic. Yeah. Nate Moore, who produced the Black Panther movies, Eternals, and Captain America Brave New World, filled in comic book with the following. So comicbook.com, I'm presuming. Truth is, there is no truth to those rumors. Never say never to anything. We haven't really had a lot of creative conversations with Ryan Coogler yet because he's finishing his film Sinners, which comes out this year. We'll get into it later this year, but everything you read online is not true, if for no other reason than we just haven't started working on it. Just because I think that's a little disingenuous. which is kind of a lot of wordplay that we get from producer types and people who are under NDAs to not give specific information out. This is just to muddy the waters, because he very much leaves the door open. He said that they haven't had creative conversations with Coogler yet. He said that perhaps he's alluding to the fact that perhaps the list of potential actors is a bit too far, but because they haven't talked with Coogler doesn't mean they haven't had internal discussions that haven't also included Coogler about going forward with recasting. So there's probably a kernel of truth to the recasting rumors, just they're not quite as deep into the recasting process as the rumors would have us believe. So that is definitely producer speak for, yeah, we're probably going to do it. Worth a mention is that, of course, Moore isn't going to confirm the rumors. Yeah, Moore also happens to be exiting Marvel after Brave New World, so what the hell would he know anyway? But we'll be sticking around to develop Black Panther 3, but probably because it's in his contract, yes. Will Marvel recast Black Panther? We've talked about this previously. Chadwick Boseman's brother specifically said that Chadwick would want them to move forward with the character as played by another actor. We know that this is a thing that he's totally down for. All things we've talked about previously. Black Panther 3 details. All things we talked about previously. Okay. Next. Oh, I haven't actually watched this one, so I can't. I was going to, and I don't remember why I didn't. I just kind of spaced it off. But Jurassic World, rather, Rebirth teaser trailer drops tomorrow. So that's why I haven't watched it. There you go. Something is coming. What is... let's mute the audio from this tab. Where are you? Mute tab. There we go. So we'll just watch the video, what was posted on X. Ooh. Trailer Wednesday. So we get a little shot of Scarlett. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Go back. Go away. No. Scarlett Johansson. Can we do this? Yeah. Scarlett Johansson noticing what looks like something in the background, and then we see a tail behind this dude, and that's all we get. So that's interesting. What is Jurassic World Rebirth about? Hey, that's a good question. Let's read this part. Action-packed new chapter sees an intrepid team racing to secure DNA samples from the three most colossal creatures across the land, sea, and air. 5 years after the events of Jurassic World Dominion, the planet's ecology has proven largely inhospitable to dinosaurs. Those remaining exist in isolated equatorial environments and climates resembling the one in which they thrived. The three colossal creatures within that tropic biosphere hold the key to a drug that will bring miraculous life-saving benefits to humankind. Ooh, hey, we saw something like this in the... Oh, it is going to be rated R. Very interesting. Let's continue reading. But we're going to do a little section later also of the That Just Happened stuff, because been digesting some interesting content. One was the most recent Alien Romulus movie, so we're going to talk about that briefly. And then what was the show? I was watching a show. I can't remember the show. I've been rewatching Shameless, so we'll probably talk about that. Damn it. I guess we're going to have to hold off on that one until next time. But either way, we're going to do a little bit of That Just Happened. Continuing on with this, though. Who it stars, anchored by iconic action superstar Scarlett Johansson. Is she iconic as an action superstar? I don't know if I go along with that statement. But the film, I mean, she was Black Widow, so she's got that going for her. The film also stars breakthrough talent Jonathan Bailey and two-time Oscar winner Mahershala Ali. Oh, I don't remember that. Who, with acclaimed international stars Rupert Friend and Manuel Garcia Rulfo. Cast also includes Luna Blaze, David Lacano, Iacono, I think is what that is. Audrina Miranda as Ruben's family. The film also features as members of Zora and Krebs' crew, Philippine Veligay, Besher Sylvian, and Ed Screen. Nice. Directed by dynamic visualist Gareth Edwards. Oh, who did Rogue One? Okay, from a script original Jurassic Park screenwriter David Cope, based on characters created by Michael Crichton. The film is produced by Oscar nominee Frank Marshall and Patrick Crowley, both longtime Jurassic franchise producers of the Summer Blockbusters. But it doesn't say anything about it being rated R. But I do remember hearing that previously. How it is going to be R-rated. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Moving right along, speaking of new trailers, we have Megan 2.0 teaser trailer. Again, we're going to mute this because I haven't watched this one yet, if it's really up. It is really up. Okay. So, screw it. Let's just go into this. We'll stop it and start it and do the things and... Spinosaurus is in this movie. You haven't seen it since Jurassic Park 3. Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath, bud. Oh, is that all it is? I think that that was not super well received by the audience because, I mean, they made it up for the movie, and like it's a little. Oh, that was too loud. It's a little bit too much of a thing for. I think the fandoms. So doubtful, but possible, I guess. All right, sorry. Let's before we watch and not listen to this trailer. Let's get into... I'm going to double-check streams real quick just to make sure everything is functioning. Yep. Functioning. There was another one that is... Oh, yeah. Nope. We're just going to have to assume that one's fine. All right. Continuing on, let's get back into this. Let's watch and not listen to this Megan 2.0 teaser. PG-13 on this one as well as since the first one was June 27th. How is she back? That's the real question. How are they going to play this? Oh, it is equally as awkward as the first movie. Megan 2.0. Slaying on June 27th. Oh, good Lord. Blumhouse again, so there's that. Brian Jordan Alvarez, Jen Van Epps as Gemma's loyal tech. All right, so let's get into the article just because I don't know how they're going to pull this off. Teased during Sunday's Grammys. That's when it came out. Original creative team behind the phenomenon, led by horror titans James Wan for Atomic Monster, Jason Blum for Blumhouse, and director Gerard Johnstone. Reboot an all-new wild chapter in AI mayhem with Megan 2.0. 2 years after Megan, a marvel of artificial intelligence went rogue and embarked on a murderous and impeccably choreographed rampage and was subsequently destroyed. Megan's creator, Gemma, Allison Williams, has become a high-profile author and advocate for government oversight of AI. Meanwhile, Gemma's niece, Katie, Violet McGraw, now 14, has become a teenager, rebelling against Gemma's overprotective rules. Unbeknownst to them, the underlying tech for Megan was stolen and misused by a powerful defense contractor to create a military-grade weapon known as Amelia. Ivana Sakno, Ahsoka, Pacific Rim, Uprising, blah, blah, blah. The ultimate killer infiltration spy. But as Amelia's self-awareness increases, she becomes decidedly less interested in taking orders from humans or keeping them around. With the future of human existence on the line, Gemma realizes that the only option is to resurrect... Oh, interesting! Amy Donald, voiced by Jenna Davis, and give her a few upgrades, making her faster, stronger, and more lethal. As their paths collide, the original AI bitch is about to meet her match. Okay. All right, I can see how that. The first Megan film shattered box office records, opening to $30.4 million domestically to become the biggest opening weekend for a PG-13 horror film. Interesting. All right. I don't know that I don't know that's going to be something I see in theaters, but it's definitely going to be something I put on once it hits streaming. Because the first one was mildly entertaining. It was a little bit of a stretch. I wouldn't say it was great by any stretch of the imagination, but it was all right. What do you think, Chris? Did you dig the first Megan movie? Are you stoked for a sequel? Let me hear all about it. Let's continue right along. Speaking of canceled creators, we have a Sandman piece to talk about, specifically Neil Gaiman. More allegations have come out against Gaiman. We're not going to talk about those specifically, but just know that is relevant for this article. There are more allegations coming out against Neil Gaiman. So, because of that, article follows. Following the upcoming release of Season 2, Netflix has opted to cancel the Sandman series in the wake of new allegations surrounding Neil Gaiman. News comes via Variety, who offers the cancellation will not impact Season 2, but obviously means there will be no third season. Quote, the release plan for Season 2 will not be impacted by the cancellation, and the episodes are still set for a 2025 release. End quote. No plans for the Sandman Season 3, says the showrunner. The Sandman showrunner Alan Heinberg said in a statement on Variety on Friday, on Friday, claiming they were done with the show following Season 2 anyways. Sandman series, quote, the Sandman series has always been focused exclusively on Dream's story. And back in 2022, when we looked at the remaining Dream material from the comics, we knew we only had enough story for one more season. Oh, that is actually pretty cool. We are extremely grateful to Netflix for bringing the team all back together and giving us the time and resources to make a faithful adaptation in a way that we hope will surprise and delight the comics' loyal readers as well as fans of our show. Super awesome. I'm really excited for the fact that this is not going to leave us on a cliffhanger. I feel like there is plenty more Sandman material that you could have done a third season, but if you were planning on 2 seasons originally and we're getting 2 seasons, then I am totally okay with that and here for it all at the same time. Season 2 gets released sometime 2025. It doesn't say specifically. What happened to Neil Gaiman? We're not going to talk about it because we don't cover that kind of news on this show. Going back to chat. No response yet from Mr. Chris. Let's continue on then. Where are we going? Next is Star Wars. Rumors for Star Wars. We have Ryan Gosling in talks for Sean Levy movie. It's reported Ryan Gosling is in negotiations to star in the upcoming Star Wars movie from Sean Levy. The report comes from THR. Oh, so this is actually solid rumor then. It's very likely is happening. Who can only add that Levy's movie will be, quote, unconnected to the so-called Skywalker saga, unquote, and that it's meant to be a standalone movie. It's also unknown when Levy's Star Wars movie is set. The film also doesn't have an official release date. THR also says if the deal goes through that Levy's Star Wars movie will be the next Star Wars movie to go into production following The Mandalorian and Grogu. That's pretty cool. That movie is set to be released May 22nd of next year, 2026. According to Deadline, it's hoped the movie goes into production this fall. Levy has been developing the film with writer Jonathan Trooper for the past 2 years. We have been talking about this movie for some time, so that's pretty cool. Hopefully, it is enough to revive a dead franchise. because I really don't know if Mandalorian and Grogu is going to do it. I mean, I have high hopes that it will, but there is strong doubt as well. Recently, saw the news that Disney yanked the Daisy Ridley and Shermeen Obed-Shinwa Rey movie from the schedule. While rumors said Disney was putting all their chips into Daisy Ridley as Rey, I, being the author of this piece, actually said that it was complete BS and they would be going with a male character. Enter Gosling. Huh, interesting. I don't remember seeing this. Let's follow the rabbit hole for a minute. Let's finish this section because this is the end of it. Sean Levy, of course, recently directed billion-dollar Deadpool and Wolverine at Marvel. Ryan Reynolds recently announced he is re-teaming with Levy and Hugh Jackman on a new non-Marvel movie, which sounded like it was Levy's next gig. However, THR says Gosling's interest in Star Wars shifted Levy from the new Reynolds movie. I actually wouldn't doubt if it has more to do with all the drama surrounding Reynolds and his wife, Blake Lively. That is hilarious. Yeah, so let's follow the rabbit hole down real quick. This is from November. Why do I not remember this? We must have talked about this on the channel if it's from November. Huh. Okay, never mind. We're not following that rabbit hole. We're just going to continue on. So, now we have some really cool stuff. There are two... All right, so we're gonna do this in reverse order from the way I found these articles, but we're actually going to get into three different pieces about Terrifier, one of which is going to be kind of quick, one of which is going to be very quick, and then one of which is going to be a little aggravating. So let's start with the aggravating one first, shall we? All right, so... Terrifier series, the title of this article from Bounding into Comics. Terrifier series director responds to backlash against Art the Clown actor's political social media post, says horror series, quote, is not in any way, shape, or form a political franchise, unquote. That is the whole title to this article. Let's continue with the actual article. According to Terrifier director Damien Leone, while some of the horror franchise's cast, crew, and fans have their own outspoken political opinions, his killer clown-centric series is intended to serve as nothing more than blood-spattered pieces of bipartisan entertainment. The latest controversy surrounding fan-favorite slasher films first arose courtesy of Art the Clown himself, series lead actor David Howard Thornton. Far from a fan of the newly re-elected President Trump and his administration, recent weeks have seen Thornton taking to his personal threads and Facebook accounts to offer his own vocal criticism against American government's new direction. For example, on January 31st, the actor pressed his followers, consider what all is happening in our country right now. How do you feel? Angry, sad, happy, apathetic, impartial? Now you know exactly how you would have reacted during the events in 1930s Germany. Oh, boy. I hope you all plan on being on the correct side of history. Well, obviously you are not, sir, because the people have spoken. Next day, Thornton would retweet a news report from the LA Times recounting the details of President Trump's recent order that California open up its Terminus and Schaefer dams and declare time for disobedience. Wow. So in the light of the fact that LA is burning, David Howard Thornton decides that he doesn't want water in the city. That's pretty intense. Quote, the same people that scream they took our gerbs have no problem with an unelected illegal immigrant Nazi oligarch taking their social security information and taking over the treasury by force. Really? He said on February 2nd, make it make sense. Wow. Sharing an update, Brian Tyler Cohen from political YouTuber... What? Sharing an update, Brian... Proofreading is a beautiful thing. Come on, guys. Sharing an update, Brian Tyler Cohen from political YouTuber regarding Elon Musk being granted full unrestricted access to various government agencies. Thornton indulged in a bit of schadenfreude, asserting, "This is for those that voted for this. Y'all wanted cheaper eggs. Y'all just had your personal information stolen by an unelected foreigner and are now about to be taxed much more due to these tariffs." So here's the thing. All right, so I know we don't do politics very much here, but when you see nonsense, you got to call it out for what it is. Tariffs, if existing in a bubble, if there was only one source for the items being tariffed from these other countries, if that was the only option that we had, then yes, a tariff would be a tax on the people that are trying to buy the item. However, when you take into consideration that we have a pretty decent market for basically everything coming in that is getting tariffed, you have to consider the market. So let's look. We'll say there's 3 companies that produce a widget. Whatever is irrelevant. So company A produces that widget in America. Company B produces that widget in a country that is not being tariffed currently, and company C produces that widget in a location in a country that is being tariffed, right? So you have 3 different sources for the same product. Company A's product is going to be a little bit more expensive because we have standards for what we pay our laborers. Company B is going to be a little bit cheaper because they probably have lower standards for what they pay their laborers, so they can sell the item at a cheaper markup. And company C has to compete with both of them. So if they transfer the cost of the tariff directly to their audience, then they are going to be pushed out of the market and they're not going to sell any. However, if they try to just compete with the American company, Company A, then they're more likely to still remain competitive while taking a loss because of the tariffs. That is how it actually works. If there's only Company C, then yes, they can do whatever they want with the price, and we have to just kind of suck it up as consumers. That is not the way it actually exists in practice. In a vacuum, sure, but in practice, no. So, just so you know going forward, when you see people make that point, they are misinformed and they are just rehashing information that they don't fully understand. Continuing on with the article. Quote, "This is only 2 weeks in," he added. "Was it worth it? Putting our country in the hands of a convicted felon again." When you see nonsense, you have to call it out. Let's finish the quote and then we'll call out the nonsense. "And adjudicated rapist that already tried to overthrow our government. Y'all got played like a harp from hell." Okay, so there's a lot to unpack in that statement. Again, this is as political as we're probably ever going to get on this channel, but convicted felon, multiple convicted felon is usually the point that people like this try and make. He was only convicted of felonies based on the idea that he was committing a felony and the cover-up was in relation to said felony. Now, he has never been convicted of an underlying felony. He's only been convicted of covering something up. Therefore, once it gets challenged in the courts, is probably going to be thrown out because that is not a legal sentence. It is not a legal conviction, rather. Because you have to have an underlying crime in order to elevate that misdemeanor to a felony. If there is no underlying crime and you still convict them on a felony for the cover-up, you have then committed an illegal conviction. Okay, there's the first thing. The second thing, adjudicated rapist. That one has already been kind of shot to shit in the news. If you watch actual educated news, people who get into the nitty-gritty details of the court case and the aftermath of the court case, you already know that doesn't really hold water at all. The trial, there's a reason why she couldn't get a conviction on rape, because rape did not happen. And everyone in the major news media outlets who has said these words has been forced to retract their statements and change the way they refer to this, because that is not actually what happened either. And then the tried to overthrow the government part. If he had actually tried to do that, there would have been a lot more issues on that previous January 6th. Let's call a spade a spade. There were stupid people doing stupid things. Most of them were not actually doing that. If you look at the hours and hours and hours of footage released from January 6th, you will see that, yes, there were people who deserve to have gotten punished for the things that they have done, but the large majority of the people who were punished for things did not actually do anything wrong. And many of them, before they were all pardoned by Trump, were already getting let off. So the fact that they were keeping them without sentence, without reason, really, for what some of them 4+ years at this point, is also an illegal action conducted by our government. I mean, like, facts is facts. That is just the way it actually played out. So, continuing on back into the silly news. Blah, blah, blah. Given the nature of the internet, Thornton's sharing of his highly political opinions unsurprisingly drew him the ire of his ideological opponents, many of whom essentially told the actor to sit down and stop talking and get back to entertaining them. But rather than shutting up, Thornton instead wrote on his social accounts, "I grew up around Germans that stayed silent. I learned from them what happens when one stays silent." All right, so if we were in a fascist state, the leader would be trying to expand the government, not shrink it. Let's just keep that as it is, shall we? That's why I continue to refuse to stay silent. If you don't like that, you can keep scrolling. It's as simple as that. From there, discourse continued to grow, eventually reaching the aforementioned Leone himself, seeking to address the situation. The director took to his personal Facebook page on February 3rd, so yesterday, and announced, "I want to make a very important statement regarding Terrifier franchise in this ugly political climate we're living in. As most of you know, many of my cast and crew members have made very passionate political presence on social media with extreme and sometimes harsh opinions, which is their right." Absolutely agree. He wrote, "I'm all for freedom of speech and expression. That being said, Terrifier is not in any way, shape, or form a political franchise." Continuing, "I did not get into filmmaking to become a politician or promote any political agendas or ideologies, especially through a killer clown movie. I fell in love with horror movies as a form of pure entertainment, and those are the films I like to make. Since Terrifier 1, our cast and crew has and still consists of both Republicans and Democrats, and anyone is welcome to be a part of it regardless of political affiliations, as long as they are a decent human being." Wonderful statement. That goes for our fan base as well, he concluded. If this doesn't sit well with you, with any fans or cast crew members, that is your right, and I respect it. You don't have to buy a ticket. You don't have to work in these films. Thank you, and I recommend you don't let toxic rhetoric on either side of the political spectrum deter you from being a Terrifier fan. So, there's that. Unrelated, our next piece, and much actually more interesting, I think. Next piece about Terrifier is Damien Leone continuing his announcements, confirms conclusion of the series and origin story for Art the Clown in Terrifier 4. On a day that is traditionally intended to be for receiving gifts, Damien Leone was instead a giver of gifts on his birthday this past Wednesday, when he revealed that he's working on the script for the sequel to the record-breaking blockbuster Terrifier 3. Terrifier 4 is still in its fetal stages of development, but the director is unable to contain his excitement to show art enthusiasts the cover page for what is intended to be the finale of Leone's delightfully graphic film series, and he even promises a backstory to his muted harlequin from Hades that has captured the weary, jaded hearts of modern gorehounds everywhere. Oh, that's cool. Truly, quote, I'm truly blessed to know so many wonderful human beings, Leon said in his Instagram post. I might as well take advantage of this day and give all of the Terrifier fans a little present in return. The script for Terrifier 4 is underway, he continued, and it is shaping up to be the most epic, horrifying, thrilling, emotional, and satisfying conclusion to Terrifier saga. P.S. I will finally reveal Art's origin in this entry. Whether or not this will actually be the final entry is currently a question that at the mercy of face value. Unless the movie is a complete failure at the box office, it's hard to believe that it will end there. Not after the massive, unprecedented success of Terrifier 3 last year, which, despite a meager $2 million budget, grossed a staggering $89 million worldwide. I have not seen those numbers. That is awesome. Making it the highest grossing unrated film to grace mainstream cinemas with its morally dubious presence. Take that deep throat. That's funny. For those like me with the taste for the macabre, it also proved that big studios can take a gamble on fresh material within independent sphere and profit from it, something which is no laughing matter. The world of horror first met Leon and his clown creation in the generally unknown 2013 horror anthology feature All Hallows Eve, in that vastly underrated movie. Yes, if you haven't watched All Hallows Eve, it's pretty legit. Art the Clown serves as the central figure connecting the separate stories in an anthology format. Art quickly grew popular among horror fans and has since become one of the most cosplayed characters at conventions everywhere. Something to note is that was a different actor playing Art in the All Hallows Eve anthology movie. That's the only one that is not what's his toes? Whatever. When Leon set out to make a spin-off feature of All Hallows Eve, Gianelli had retired from acting, the actor who played so that David Howard Thornton. There we go. Again, brain farts are a thing. To don the bloodstained jumpsuit, Terrifier was released in 2016, with audiences giving a warm welcome to the all-out celebration of practical effects, low-budget charm, and over-the-top gore. Yes. Thornton was doused with praise for his performance of the silent mummer that's hell-bent on mutilation and dismemberment. He's been constant with the horror convention circuit ever since. The minor success of that movie, apparently made $421,000 worldwide, led to an even more successful and even more violent sequel in 2022, which I felt was a little less effective than the first movie. I don't know. I felt like the protagonist in that movie just didn't have a satisfying function. Like she felt shoehorned into what otherwise would have been a repeat of the first movie. So like it was a little bit of growing pains as far as my viewing was concerned, but like still obviously a higher budget. I still have yet to watch Terrifier 3, which sucks, but it will be. I will see it. It will happen. So that one was profit of $15 million. The rise of the big top turned David Howard Thornton into a horror icon, Art the Clown into a household name, and has given people with coulrophobia nightmares that will most certainly last for generations. That's awesome. Terrifier, Terrifier 2, and All Hallows Eve are for free on Tubi, which God bless Tubi and Pluto. But Terrifier 3 is going to cost you over on Prime. That is where you can do it. Yeah, I think I agree with this first commenter here. I don't know if an origin story is a great idea because, and this is actually going to be a nice transition into our next piece, but because one of the things about characters like Art the Clown, very specifically, we learned this with the Joker, is if you have an origin story, it kind of takes away some of the mystique. We also learned this with Mike Myers. If you watch the Rob Zombie Halloween movies and he goes really hard on an origin story, or any of the other Halloween movies where they talk about the shape and all of that stuff as far as origin goes for Mike Myers, like it really detracts and it pulls away from the effectiveness of those characters as horror icons, because as has been stated millions of times before, a person's imagination is far more effective than anything you can show them on a screen in front of their eyes. If you leave the backstory vague, if you leave a bunch of holes for their imagination to fill, it makes them more effective in the aspect of being frightening. So I wouldn't call it macabre. That suggests Vincent Price or something. This is just gore. No, macabre. Macabre is whatever. We're not going to get into a vocabulary lesson here, but so like I said, that leads us into our next Terrifier piece because, like I said, there are three. Oh, and I think Chris ducked out. Well. All right, so next Terrifier piece actually is specifically David Howard Thornton, who a few weeks ago, might have even been about a month ago or more, said that he would love to play the Joker. And apparently he has been able to do just that on a YouTube short film. It is called Joker's Wild. I did actually watch that one this morning. It's legit. Steps into even bigger clown shoes for DC fan film Joker's Wild. So this is what he looks like as the Joker. I don't know that we're going to read this necessarily, but the basic story of Joker's Wild. Oh yeah, we can't. They're not going to show it here because it's age restricted because it is very, very gory. But if you're familiar with the Death in the Family arc, then you're going to be. This is very familiar territory. This is an alternate take on the scene where Joker kills Jason Todd. I say it with the air quotes because if you know, Jason Todd is not dead. He is the Red Hood. But at the time, Jason Todd was killed off, and he did not return for a very long time because he was effectively dead. This one does not leave open-ended. Todd could not return, and that's all I'm going to say about how this one ends. But there are moments in this very dark take on the Joker, which again totally freaking works. There are moments in this very dark take on the Joker where David Howard Thornton's performance legitimately makes you laugh in spite of the things you're seeing in front of you. This gruesome, gory scene that is what we get in this short. You're still like kind of chuckling at the things he's saying. So kudos to the writer, who is also, I believe, the director. Let's see if I can find his name in here. Aaron W. Bennett. He's done a lot of short work. He's done like key grips on bigger projects and things, but anything like writer director that he's done has all been basically shorts, which has paid off because this really, really worked. Let's see if we can go find. We'll just go here, so I can show you the thumbnail. Oh, come on, meow. Let's go to Joker's Wild right there. So it has its own channel. Joker's Wild Movie is the channel, and then Life is Funny, Death is Hilarious. Let's see if I can. I'm not going to play it, obviously, but we are going to pull up the thumbnail so that you can see it. That is the thumbnail currently. It's pretty great. David Howard Thornton's performance as Mr. J is like top notch. I wouldn't say second to none because obviously we have some amazing Jokers on film, but he is top notch for freaking sure. I just only wish he was more properly educated in the ways of politics. So yeah, that's what we got to talk about for Terrifier. I think we have two more things. Yeah, we're going to do three more pieces, and then we're going to get into the That Just Happened stuff and the not necessarily news-related things. So, first up is Superman lawsuit. So, Superman producer Warner Brothers is hit with lawsuit by the estate of character's co-creator Joe Shuster ahead of film's release. There's no dispute that Warner Brothers Discovery and DC Studios, including its co-president James Gunn, who also directs the upcoming film, want Superman to be a big deal. A lot is riding on it, so that has to be successful, and they must keep building momentum and enthusiasm for the release, which is only 6 months from now. Unfortunately for them, not everything is going according to plan. Reports of supposedly bad buzz for the movie broke late last year, and if that wasn't bad enough, things just got a bit worse. The estate of the Man of Steel's co-creator and artist Joe Shuster has filed a lawsuit against Warner Brothers and DC that could threaten Superman's distribution in a few critical territories. Suit was filed in New York City federal court. Still, per Independent and other sources, Schuster's estate is basing its case on British copyright laws stipulating character rights should revert to a creator's estate 25 years after his death. Schuster passed away in 92, so a reversion would be overdue by almost a decade. However, it would only apply outside the U.S., where the Schuster estate is seeking back pay in territories including UK, Canada, and Australia. Lawsuit claims WB didn't pay royalties to the estate for the use of the character in these countries. As well as damages, lawyers for the estate are seeking a court order that would prevent depictions of Superman without a license. If the lawsuit goes anywhere, it could jeopardize the release of Gunn's film, British Commonwealth, and around the world. We fundamentally disagree with the merits of the lawsuit and vigorously defend our rights, responded a rep for Warner's. This suit is not intended to deprive fans of their next Superman, but rather seek just compensation for Joe Shuster's fundamental contributions to as the co-creator of Superman, Schuster estate lawyer Mark Toberoff said in contrast. It doesn't. The lawsuit is not taking into consideration the fans at all. It is just a money grab. The character was created in New York City. The lawsuit is happening in New York City. Like, where does British law come into factor for this at all? How does that remain in play if you're just seeking what's right? It's created in a region that you have to respect the laws there. So respect the laws where it was created, and don't try and pull some shisty stuff from a different country that doesn't apply to the character at all. In the slightest. Superman is the all-American hero, the great American hero, the truth, justice, in the American way. Like, British anything has nothing to do with Superman, aside from him being very entertaining, if done correctly. This is not taking fans into consideration at all. This is strictly someone trying to make a buck off of the fact that Warner Brothers is releasing a new Superman movie. So the article continues. Superman was created in 1938 by Shuster and Jerry Siegel. DC took ownership and turned the property into a multi-million-dollar worldwide sensation, eminent in popular culture for nearly a century. For years, Siegel and Shuster struggled just to get recognition, never mind bylines and stipends, which does suck. And, that should have been dealt with differently. However, it wasn't. And so we're a little beyond too late at this point. The lawsuit claims the duo merely licensed the character rights to DC back in the day, and, quote, defendants continue to exploit Superman across these jurisdictions without the Schuster estate's authorization, including in motion pictures, television series, and merchandise, in direct contravention of these countries' copyright laws, which require the consent of all joint copyright owners to do so. Previous lawsuits ruling in DC's favor declared the publisher legitimately bought the rights from the pair for the notorious sum of $130. So I did not remember that. That really, really sucks in so many ways. Really. Interesting comments. All right, so that is the Superman piece. Let's get into the music bits, and then we're going to kill the news portion of today. So that being said, I think we have to mute or pause at least the tunes going on. Hopefully, oh nope, still not there. All right, so now let's move into music stuff. So we have I'm probably gonna no. I'll stop it. We're not gonna play the whole dang thing. We're just gonna play bits. So Fire Aid was a thing. Happened just when was this? 4 days ago, roughly 4 or 5 days ago, and a lot of really great acts were there. A lot of really famous acts were there. Not necessarily one for one on those terms, but No Doubt was one of them. We're going to talk about Nirvana here in just a moment because they were also there, but there's different things to talk about there. And then those are the ones we're going to talk about. If you want to watch it, watch it. It's 6 hours of music, so there's bound to be something on there you like. There's probably going to be a lot more that you don't like, so just kind of skip around, do as you will. But No Doubt performed. They performed 3 songs, Just a Girl, Don't Speak, and Spiderwebs. Gwen Stefani looks like she's from Mars anymore. Let's see if we can get a good. It's not really a great shot, but whatever. Because she's had all the plastic surgery. But like the Just a Girl performance was really iffy. Yeah, right there. Very great example of why that was iffy. She's dropped everything for this song specifically because Don't Speak and Spiderwebs, it was like she needed the first song as a warm-up, which is a weird thing for a professional musician to do on stage, but it was really like Just a Girl was a warm-up because her voice, she dropped the whole thing by about a fifth, almost a full octave even in some spots from the original recording and from previous live performances that you can go look up on YouTube. She sings in the same range as the studio recording when she performs it live. At least she used to. Here, she really did not. And then on top of the fact that she's singing down, she's also off key, which is weird. That is not in key. That's absolutely not in key. We're going to do that one more time. And she also sounds like she's out of breath. What is that? Now that you move into Don't Speak. And then she's right on top. She's right where she needs to be. I mean, maybe not right where she needs to be. It wasn't a perfect performance of that song or Spiderwebs. Spiderwebs probably was the best one of the 3, which would make sense because she was really cold when they went out on stage. Oh, it was a little disappointing. And then they got to Don't Speak and it was like, oh, there's the song, the singer that I really, really dug as a kid and like really loved the voice and all of the things. And then she went crazy. And now we're back up into the proper key and everything. Isn't that wonderful? So I don't know. It was just a weird thing that happened. The next thing that we want to talk about. Oh, that's right. We have 2 more things. We're going to talk about Nirvana. Let's just see if we can find the performance. The Nirvana performance was interesting. So we're going to look it up. Fire Aid. Nirvana. Nirvana Union. I think this is the one we want. So we got 3 different vocalists performing Breed, School, and Territorial. Four songs. Breed, School, Territorial Pissings. All apologies. Give me more information because there we go. So Breed was with St. Vincent. School was with Kim Gordon, who is from Sonic Youth. Territorial Pissings was with Joan Jett. And then Kim Gordon came back to play bass while Chris, who is the bass player for Nirvana, played accordion. And Violet Grohl, Dave Grohl's daughter, did vocals for All Apologies, which was pretty great. the thing I wanted to talk about here was the St. Vincent situation. As you can see here, as it's opening up, like there is the feedback is planned, but it seems like there's some sort of technical issue going on. And then she comes out and has a hell of a time. Let's make sure YouTube hasn't killed us yet. Okay, good. She comes back and has a hell of a time with her timing. Like those vocals are so off, and you can hardly hear the guitar because thankfully we have Pat Smear playing guitar as well, and you gotta love Pat. The dude just always makes you smile, doesn't he? But it was like she couldn't hear her earplug or her in-ear monitor. So you can see here she pulls the in-ear monitor out. She gets a little bit better with her timing after that, but really it was just like technical issue. Apparently I've never listened to St. Vincent. I'm not super familiar with her music. I'm told that like her first couple records are really good. I really don't know. Obviously Nirvana took notice because she's singing with them, so this had to be chalked up to technical issues, and she just couldn't hear and whatever. Really super awesome was Kim Gordon performing School. That was great. I'm super jealous of her bass tone when we get into All Apologies. Sounds so freaking incredible. The performance with Joan Jett for Territorial Pissings was a little disappointing on Joan Jett's part. I gotta say, but again, it seems like there were just technical issues through the whole thing. Also, I wasn't paying that close attention apparently, but St. Vincent screwed up the lyrics for Breed because she says, we can buy a house, we can plant a tree. The lyrics are, we can plant a house, we can buy a tree, or build a tree rather. So yeah, not really, didn't really get it right. Like, you're in front of literally millions and millions of people, and you're getting the lyrics wrong. That's not cool. But the All Apologies performance with Violet Grohl was fine. Again, super jealous of Kim Gordon's tone on the bass. It was freaking awesome. But Violet's performance of the lyrics, it's like it's difficult for anyone to perform these lyrics as written by Kurt Cobain, because like Kurt was so iconic and was so emotional, just literally threw everything he had into every performance, and Violet seems to be performing the lyrics, not like she's not experiencing them the way that Kurt used to. So it was cool because like it's kind of like Dave making up to his kid for being a really shitty dad. Like, hey, you want to sing on stage in front of millions of people because I cheated on your mom? Cool. Will that make you like me more? Probably not. Okay, at least I tried. But it was still a cool thing to see, like, you know, the next generation of the Nirvanas. It was definitely an experience. It was something that you should watch for the historical aspects of it. There are definitely some really cool elements of the performance. Overall, though, I really wish they hadn't had the technical issues that they did that really kind of killed it. The Chili Peppers performance for Fire Aid was impressive, but I mean, like, come on now. It's the Chili Peppers. They kind of... I don't know that they've ever, since for the last like 2 decades, they haven't really disappointed as far as their performances go. Say what you will about their music, because that's very much hit and miss since Blood Sugar Sex Magic. Everything beyond that is kind of like, yeah, some of it's good, some of it's really boring. But as far as performers go, those dudes are incredible performers. Flea specifically is like in his 60s at this point, and definitely, or maybe he's not quite that, maybe he is, I don't remember. No, because if Corey Taylor's in his mid 50s or so, early 50s, Flea's got to be at least a decade older than that dude. So yeah, I mean, I would say they're in their 60s, if not very close. Green Day, I skipped it. I honestly skipped around a lot. There was some really cool. Sting played with Stevie Wonder. Sting played a set by himself and then played with Stevie Wonder. And then Flea came out and did Higher Ground with Stevie Wonder. So Flea's playing bass, Stevie's playing the keys, and Sting's singing the words. It was freaking awesome. There's a lot of really cool performances at that show. Also at that show, I do have, I don't know how I'm going to show it, but our predicting 2025 bingo card, we already, kind of, sort of, if we're stretching it a little bit, we can check one of the things off. Let's see if I can do this. How am I going to do this? In image view. How do I do that? Properties? Yes. Okay. So let's go open. What? No, I want to open a picture. That's not what I want to do. Dumb. Oh, I bet I can do it this way. Yay, I remembered a thing. So if we go into off season and we open this picture. I apologize. I should have planned this a little bit better in advance, but where is it? Open with. Where are you? Open with. There. Open with photos. Okay, it's open. And then we go here and we say, well, cancel and then try again. That one right there. Cool. Okay. So this picture, we'll move it around a little bit and then we'll make it a little bit bigger. Billie Eilish performed with Green Day. I can't speak to the quality of it because I didn't watch it. I didn't watch that part of the performance because it's Green Day's set, and I just skipped past Green Day's set because I have really lost all respect and appreciation for their music over the course of the last decade or so. If it's anything after Insomniac, basically, I kind of don't care. But our checklist item from predicting 2025 was that Billie Eilish was going to have some sort of performance with I think I said metal or rock band. If I said metal band only, then we can't necessarily count this, but I'm pretty sure I said one of each. It could have been one of either. So if that's the case, then we're checking things off. And honestly, that was one of that I didn't anticipate fully checking off. So that's kind of cool. But that's what we got there. Close that out. We don't need that open anymore. All right, so then the best one, we saved the best for last as far as music is concerned. The best one was the Courtney LaPlante. We're talking about the Grammys now. We're not going to play the full rock feed situation. Let's go to... Nope. Yeah. So rock feed. I can't think of dude's name right now, but he covered this very, very well. If you want to see the whole thing, then go check it out. Courtney LaPlante is being interviewed on the red carpet at the Grammys. Courtney LaPlante, for those that don't know, is the vocalist for the band Spirit Box. They are definitely a heavy, heavy band. They're not a hardcore band. They're very much a metal band. So there's that. But this interviewer mistakes Courtney LaPlante for Poppy.
And then you can see Courtney immediately make a face like...
Yeah.
The interviewer...
Are you just going to talk all the way through it, Bo?
I am Poppy, and
just takes it to...
Okay, so here we go. We're going to get this.
Acting as Poppy this entire time. Hilarious.
yeah, I am Poppy, and I'm really happy to be here, nominated with Knock Loose.
Nominate, and Courtney LaPlante takes it in stride. There is the possibility that, and I don't know how the Grammys work specifically, but in a lot of situations like this, definitely situations where I've been the interviewer, you get a moment with the interviewee before you start the interview. In a situation like the red carpet at the Grammys, maybe that moment is much quicker. Maybe that moment doesn't really exist. I don't know, but I'm assuming they at least get a brief moment with the person they're about to interview, and they kind of run down and, we're going to talk about X, Y, and Z. We're going to, this is kind of what we're thinking, blah, blah, blah. Something along those lines. Not specific questions or anything like that, because you don't want to necessarily let the interviewee plan their response necessarily, especially in a situation like this. You want the raw response. So possibly in the pre-interview portion, the interviewer said to Courtney, referred to her as Poppy, and Courtney just realized, well, this is how this is going to go, so I guess I'll just pretend I'm Poppy for a moment. But she leans into it.
This is not your first nomination, right?
No, I actually was nominated in, I believe, 2020. Really happy to be here.
She even knows when Poppy was nominated previously. So again, totally plays it like a champ. I really feel like this could have been so much more memeable, though, if she had called the interviewer out for not knowing who she is. Because, I mean, I would play, but music is definitely going to get us some sort of strike on the YouTube stream. But, like, they're very different artists. Poppy, even though Poppy is kind of doing more on the heavy side these days, she started her career, at the very least, as a pop artist. Sadly, Courtney LaPlante and Spirit Box did not win this year, though thankfully it was Gojira, hell yes, for Mea Culpa, which, I mean, is the song they performed at the Olympics, which makes sense that they would win the Oscar for it, because the Oscars are political, or Grammys rather, political. It's the music industry patting itself on the back. So the fact that they even have a metal category is kind of a win in my book to a certain degree. But again, nobody watches the Grammys anymore. Their ratings have been struggling for years at this point. So, I mean, maybe this is doing them more good than not, because people are actually like watching Grammy clips, but we're only watching clips. We didn't actually watch the Grammys. Nobody watched the Grammys. Nobody cares about a bunch of millionaires giving each other awards. That's just silly. So yeah, I mean, like, kudos to Courtney for taking it very professionally. I think it would have been a lot funnier if she had been much less professional and been like, who do you think I am? What band am I here with? But she didn't. She's far more professional than I think I would be in that situation. So definitely kudos to her. If you, again, Rockfeed, he has a pretty cool breakdown of the whole stuff leading up to it, both the different artists, or just go find this interview because it's bound to be in a million places. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. And then Sumerian Records, which is the record label that Spirit Box is signed to, Sumerian Records posted, let's see if we can find that. Let's go to Instagram. And go find some Sumerian Records, because this is absolutely golden. Sumerian Records right here. Where is it? Reels, probably.
I mean, you got nominated against Judas Priest, who I just talked to.
I have to say,
Metallica.
yeah, I am Poppy.
They take and meme it to death.
Here nominated with Not Priest.
This is so awesome. They have to make a shirt now.
Poppy. No, you are. I mean, you got nominated against Judas Priest, who I just talked to.
I have to say,
Metallica.
yeah, I am Poppy.
They need to make I Am Poppy shirts now. Courtney's face over Poppy's body, just like they do here. Yeah, something like that on a t-shirt that says I Am Poppy. This needs to happen. Sumerian Records, get on that. Because that is too good. Oh, man. Okay, so Real quick, we got a couple minutes before we're going to kill the news portion. There is some things that have happened. We watched Alien Romulus this past week. It was interesting. Let's go pull up something more appropriate on the image for Alien Romulus. Let's go Google's and images and Alien Romulus right there. All right, so watched Alien Romulus. This is basically... go here? Yeah, let's do that one. I like that one a little better. Open image in new tab. So for Alien Romulus, basically everything you heard about this movie, about how it's good, but it could have been better. It's a lot of member berries to remind you why the Alien franchise is relevant and is worth watching. All of these things, excuse me, definitely applies. Believe the hype on this one. It was fun. It was absolutely worth a watch. I'm glad I watched it. I don't know how I would have felt if I had saw this in theaters. Like if I had paid $20 a ticket to go see this in theaters, that might have pissed me off a little bit, just because it's not as cathartic. I mean, it's better than Covenant. I would definitely put it there. I would put it probably just behind Alien 2 as far as like the hierarchy of quality Alien movies goes, because definitely 1 is the peak and 2 is right there next to it. But this one, like if we're doing a tier list, I would say Alien Romulus is probably B tier, whereas most of the rest of the franchise would be C or lower. Like Prometheus, I would probably put it C tier, and then Covenant is definitely like a D, and Resurrection is F tier. Like just a lot of not great stuff that has come out of the Alien franchise. This is solid B. This is solid. This is entertaining enough. You have as much of a believable story as you can get. Not a whole bunch of like pointless plot holes. It just solid entertainment. Then the other one, like I said, we have been watching Shameless. Let's check that out. Shameless US. Come on, meow. Do the thing. There we go. Open in new tab, and then we go to that tab, and then yeah. All right, so Shameless, to the point now where Mickey and Ian are getting married, and so if you have not watched Shameless, it's not a very nerdy show, not nerdy at all, really. There's not a whole lot as far as the cinematography goes. It's like exceptional, so you can't even get nerdy on the technical side of things with this. It's just very entertaining. The actors' performances are, by and large, pretty fantastic. Very specifically thinking Jeremy Allen White. Oh, good Lord. Why am I going to brain fart the names of the freaking cast? So much fun. Emmy Rossum, when she's there, is... I wouldn't say she's necessarily phenomenal, actually. She's good. She definitely accomplishes the task at hand, but like she doesn't stand out. In a William H. Macy, good Lord, I was so trying to remember William H. Macy's name. That was a big brain fart. But Emmy Rossum as I suck with names so bad. Fiona, good Lord. Again, is in a cast full of really great performances. She's good. She's not a stand. She asked for the same paycheck as William H. Macy, which on the face of it is ridiculous, because like William H. Macy is one of the great underrated actors to come out of his generation. Like, even if like you watch anything with William H. Macy, and even if the movie or show or whatever is not solid, his performance always is. Like, I always enjoy William H. Macy performance. I can't think of anything I've seen him in where it's like, yeah, he could have done better. No, dude acts his ass off and is fantastic. And as Frank Gallagher, he is the reason a lot of people watch this show. Fiona, not so much. Like, she definitely has her moments, and she definitely, to a certain degree, is like the glue that keeps this family together. But she left. Let's see, what season did she leave? She left in season 9. And there were how many seasons? 11 seasons. So she left, and they did 2.5 more seasons after her, and went and got to a logical conclusion. They didn't end the show because, like, oh, it's just not working without Fiona. We didn't end the show because people were protesting that Fiona left, nothing like that. They ended the show because it was season 11, and how many shows go for 11 seasons to begin with? And on top of that, they came to a point where it made sense to end the show. So she didn't affect the end, but she got her wish. She got the pay, the same pay as William H. Macy, and then still quit on top of it. So it's like, I don't think you understand what you just did, or like just so many silly pieces with that. But Ian in the later seasons is, I mean, and Jeremy Allen White for sure. Why can't I think of Ian's name? Monaghan, Cameron Monaghan, who plays the Joker in Gotham. The 2 different versions of the Joker in Gotham, anyway. He is one of the big draws for this show. He is, his character has bipolar, and like he executes that situation, that mental situation, so frequent, that mental disability even, just so incredibly well. And the fact that he and Mickey, his boyfriend / husband there at the end, are so good together is also one of the big draws towards the end of the series, because like at once they are one of the most dysfunctional couples you're ever going to see on television, but also kind of one of the most wholesome couples you're going to see on television too. Just the care and affection they have for each other and the way they take care of each other while unconventional is incredibly wholesome, and it's so great to watch. Like, I seriously dig this show. It is incredibly entertaining. If you haven't watched it, you really, really should. Like I said, when I talked about we were going to be getting into this, there was something else I wanted to talk about here, but I didn't write it down, and I know I should have. So, yeah, we're not talking about it. That being said, I believe that's where we are going to be ending the news portion. Yeah, we're gonna call this the news, and then we're going to take a moment. I'm going to put a little food in my face. I might have to feed my dogs, and then we'll come back and do a little bit of gaming and call it a night. So, for those of you watching in post, this is where the news ends, and so this is where the video / audio is probably going to end. So thank you very much for joining. We will see you not next week. That is one thing I wanted to get out of the way. We will not be coming back next week. Next week is the final week before we come back with the regularly scheduled shows. I will have at least one reaction video that will go up next week, so there won't be a gap in content. It will just be a gap in the news. So there's that. Next week, I will be finishing all of the behind-the-scenes stuff as far as like my template for the editing and revamping the set a little bit. All of these things are going to be happening next week, and so I won't have time for a stream. So there's that. A couple of personal things are going to be getting in the way between now and then as well. So just not going to have the time to do it. So next week will not be a stream week. And then we will return the following week with our regularly scheduled news program. So that's happening. We'll see you there. Also, a reminder, Dubby is a channel partner. Go check out dubby.gg so that you can get your 10% off with code Generally Nerdy on your next set of energy potion or hydration, whichever you prefer. Also, like I said, I am sponsoring myself this whole season. So go to, that's not the one I wanted. That's the one I wanted. Go to generally-nerdy.creator-spring.com. Link in the description for all of the major platforms so that you don't have to remember all those extra dashes and words and things. So you can buy yourself some nerdy merch. We got the Gaming Nerd merch just went live. Book Nerd has been up for some time, as well as the Music Nerd. All of the basic nerd stuff will be up before we go into the regular season. We are going into season 6 for those who have been keeping up on the main channel for some time. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, go check out the merch, go do the thing, go do the dubby, and we'll see you in the next one. Before we go out, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here. Those of you who are sticking around, we will be coming back at least for a moment for probably 3 to 5 matches on some Mortal Kombat. So there we go.